Are we the tavern boys?
We're at like Jerry's Pizza and we're in the party room.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, y'all ready? Mr. Winchester's responding to the bag. Anthony Misty steps behind him with the dagger. He's kind of kneeled down at the bag with Anthony kind of standing behind him, knife around his neck. And then Lenny just tumps it. You've got the Inquisitor and his bodyguard at the door. Then moving into the room, you have the bag, and you have Mr. Winchester looking at the bag. Ike's behind him. Lennox is on the other side of the bag, and Jan is still at the table behind that. Like deepest in the room is Jan. They just came in and dropped the bag right inside the door. All right, Lenny grabs the bag, and he upends the bag, and out of the bag falls a young man, young boy, human.
What the fuck?
He's in a shiny net, like metallic-like. The boy has claw marks on his arms and dried blood under his nails and around his mouth. Dirt covers his lower body and back, and there's a short dagger protrudes from his chest. Mr. Winchester sees the boy as he falls out, and he just kind of shrugs Ike off of him. Ike, you've got, you're drunk, and you've got your dagger to his throat. Do you want to roll to see if you maintain this position, or are you just gonna let him kind of shrug you off?
No, yeah, I want to roll.
I'm gonna roll. You're gonna roll for dexterity. You rolled with disadvantage, so you're gonna roll 2 d20s strength to see if you're kind of continuing your grapple, as it were, on him.
Okay, strength. There was a 6 and an 18.
So he does. He kind of pushes you off, and he goes to the boy. Just fell out into the net. He starts to pull the net away. So Mr. Winchester looks at the boy in the metallic net, and he says, "Julian." Under his breath, you hear him mutter the name Julian. He looks at the Inquisitor, then looks back down at the boy, and he starts to pull the dagger out of the boy's chest, and he hears a bit of a grunt from the Inquisitor. It's just like, and he stops pulling on the dagger.
Yeah, Jan. If Jan sees a dagger, he's concerned that the boy might be in danger. So he wants to go check it out and make sure the boy is in decent condition.
As you start to approach the boy, Mr. Winchester says, "Jan, don't come any closer. This boy is dangerous."
Mr. Winchester, I can help this boy. I am very skilled in the arts of healing.
"I don't believe that this boy can be saved at this point. We must get him back to my lab." And he goes to start to pick him up.
Stop! Drop him right now. Jan, I'm a little messed up right now, but I think this guy's a little shady. We need to take the boy away.
Mr. Winchester, please, let me help this boy.
So as he's picking the boy up and starting to stand, he's looking down at the boy. He goes, "Y'all don't understand. We haven't seen anything like this in 85 years.
Anything like what?
I'm afraid of what this means for our town." And he starts to walk out the door with the boy. As he gets closer to the door, Yzma is going to step in front between him and you.
Lenny's like, "It is not often that I have seen a boy with a dagger in his chest stuck in a bag. I demand answers. How did this happen? And how is there a dagger in a young boy's chest?"
He stops at the door, and he kind of looks over his shoulder back at y'all as he's holding the boy. He says, "There's a lot about this town that you don't know. I'm afraid of what this bad omen means for our town. We cannot remove the dagger from this chest."
Bad omen, Mr. Winchester. This boy could be in danger. He needs to be helped.
"This boy is beyond help. This boy is dead. He's at least dead for us."
Jan feels compelled to try and stop Mr. Winchester through Yzma. Why don't we all just stop and talk about this for a minute?
Mr. Winchester looks to the Inquisitor and nods as he walks out the door. The Inquisitor turns to Yzma and he says, "Don't let them leave." And he follows Mr. Winchester out as they close the door behind them.
"We do not harm children from the north. To see this angers me. And if you do not open the door and allow me out, it will escalate."
I stand with Lenny.
This kid needs a hero's help.
So Yzma stands up real big and tall, and he cracks his knuckles, and he just goes as he stands between you and the door.
So Lenny looks back at Jan and shrugs his shoulders and then turns around, lifts up like a Spartan kick to the middle of his chest. So it would be an unarmed strike.
Roll that for me.
10.
I'm gonna give you advantage because the way you talked about it, you said that you looked at Jan, so it's kind of like a surprise hit. He's alert, but he didn't see that coming. I thought you were gonna punch him, so you went with a kick. So roll it again. Dang, with a
13.
+5.
18 total.
That 18 hit. And what was the damage? 4?
4. Bludgeoning.
Now I need everybody to roll for initiative. All right, 4 for Jan.
I have a dirty 20.
16.
So you hit him in the chest, and he was sitting there and he crunched his knuckles. You looked at Jan. Then you kick him in the chest, and he stumbles backward.
Yeah.
Lennox, it's your hit again.
So he stumbles backwards into the door. Then I'm going to grab his shoulders and then go in for a headbutt. All right, here we go.
Correct.
10, so 15.
15 hits, so 4 more damage.
So headbutt to the nose, brings him in. Pooyow.
And you see him kind of recoil with his hands on his head, and he comes back, and you've broken his nose. His nose is kind of looking sideways like this. Ah, hurts. Yzma has a bloody nose. It's Ike's turn. Because you're drunk, you have to roll with disadvantage. But tell me what you do, and we'll see how it plans out.
I'm going to brandish my knife, and I see Lennox, grappling with this guy and bash his face in. So I'm just going to drunkenly run forward and just kind of shank him in the gut.
Okay, roll. We got rolled twice, and it's with disadvantage, so you rolled an 8. Yeah, so you are running at him, drunk, head down, dagger out. What you do is you run between Lennox and Yzma right into the wall and take a D4 of bludgeoning damage. And Yzma is up, and as he sees, he's reeling from the nose, and he sees you run past and, bulling through there, and he takes his nose and he crunches it back straight, and he looks at Lennox in front of him. He's going to give you a boot to the chest as well. So I'll roll to hit. He rolls an 8 to hit. So your armor class?
It's 15.
Yeah, so he misses. And so what happens is he rears back to kick. He throws his foot up to kick at you, and you just sidestep as he lumbers forward. Now he's beside you. Yeah, so he fell forward and he's going prone now, falling at your foot. I'll give you an attack, yeah.
So is he face down?
Cause his back's to you, so.
Okay, I'm gonna rear back and kick him in the ear.
Oh God, why the ear?
Yeah, so he's fell on the ground. I'm just gonna rear back with my right foot and then soccer kick him right in the ear, like I'm kicking like a field goal.
Roll to hit, baby.
Come on, big money, no whammies, no whammies.
22.
No! But you definitely hit him, and you go to soccer, kick him in the ear. I'm going to say that he's stunned at this point. So you kicked him so hard, you actually rolled him back over, so now he's face up. He is not looking good. Jan, it's your action and move.
So at this point, I think he's had enough now. Come, we must pursue Mr. Winchester and save this boy.
Let us go, Jan. And then I'll shoulder blast into the door. We proceed up out of that tavern.
Ike?
Whoa. So this guy's completely stunned, right?
Yeah, he's stunned. His next move will be recovery.
I'm gonna crawl up and stagger towards my friends. Yeah, I'll get out of there.
Okay, and they're going to make their way out the door in pursuit of Mr. Winchester and the Inquisitor out into the main tavern room.
So have they left the building, or are they gone?
Yeah, they've already made it out. They've made it out the tavern. Yeah. So you're now in the tavern room. Are you going to continue to pursue?
Yeah. So we continue to pursue. We make it outside of the drunken goat, and then Liddy has a thought and turns around and looks at his companions that are following. He's like, I need to go to the cabin. I need to get something from the cabin.
What do you need?
I need to get my axe. It is in my closet. I need my weapon.
Little Sebastian has my stuff right here, so I can just go to my cart. So do you want a sword for right now? Or do we really need to go get an axe?
I have to have my axe.
You've come out of the tavern, right?
Yeah.
So Lenny's on the stairs of the tavern. He's turned around to say this to you guys. Y'all are still in the tavern. Do you want to look around? Do you want me to tell you what's going on?
So I'm going to dash down the tavern steps. Lenny says his piece, and I'm kind of looking around, trying to spot where the boy is because I'm concerned about his health and his fate.
Absolutely. So I imagine you kind of bust down the stairs, you get to the street that's runs, right in front of the tavern, and you're looking both left and right. Roll me a perception.
11.
Okay, so as you know, the festival is tomorrow. The town, lots of booths are set up and carts along the street. These streets are lit with lights from like a lantern and like mechanical. They're not flame necessarily, but they're not real bright. They're somewhat dull, and so your visibility's low, but you don't really hear much. I mean, it's just late at night, so there's nobody out. Everybody's at home, asleep. There's not real bustling like it was earlier today. Like I said, you look to your right, you see a narrow street with shops, but carts in front of those shops and booths in front of those shops. You look to your left and you see something similar. As you look to your left, that's the direction you came from the field. You've already passed by all that stuff, but you do not see evidence really even of Mr. Winchester, the Inquisitor.
Well, hell's and damnation. Lenny, we've lost them. We might as well go get your axe if we are to pursue them.
Follow me. Oh yeah, and then he runs past Jan, like up past him towards the main entrance, and picks up his bags of corn that he left prior, throws them over his shoulder, and power walks down the steps past Jan. Come, follow me, and then proceed into the darkness of the woods.
I turn and follow Lennox towards his house. My good sir, we must hurry. The child may be in danger.
It is not far. We will be there shortly. We go to the cabin, and then in the interest of time, it's less than a mile, so...
Is Ike going to go with you?
Well, I go to Little Sebastian's.
Who you had parked probably
right outside the tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because I am drunk and I love my little mini horse, I get distracted.
So halfway through the woods, so like halfway on our journey, I turn and I just see Jan. I don't see Ike, and I turn to Jan. I'm like, "Where is the elf? Did he not come with us?"
I dare say. I guess he stayed behind.
Anthony, roll another Constitution check.
A 4.
Ouch.
What are you doing to me?
As Ike stumbles out of the tavern, he is got vengeance on his mind, and he sees little Sebastian, and he's overcome with the love he has of his traveling companion, and he starts to pet his mane, and he sees y'all take off, and so he walks around to get his daggers that he wanted to get out of his cart that little Sebastian pulls, and you end up just crawling up in there and taking a nap.
Would Ike know where Lennox lives at this point? Did Lennox live there before Ike went on his journey?
No.
So let's see what happens at the cabin, and then we meet back up with Ike. Maybe we don't. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, just let me in the cart. That's fine.
All right. So we go to okay. So we can see the cabin. We're making our way. We're starting to see it. We can see the windows glowing from the internal. From the fireplace. I've got the corn. We kind of make it out of the thicket into a little bit of into the opening, like where the acreage is of where the cabin is at. And so I see the chickens outside, and I'm like, Kyle. And then as I'm storming on my way inside, I take the bags and just pour it over the top of both chickens, Kyle and Dave, and it like sprinkles over the top of them, and they both take off around the corner of the cabin. And then I just bust into the door, leaving Jan behind me, and I open up the closet and slide all the shit over to the side and rip up my axe. And I'm like, ha, and I spin it in my hand. I come outside and I'm like, I've retrieved it. Take a look. Sort of like wave it up on display. And I'm like, let's go back.
My good sir, that is a fantastic looking axe. Wherever did you acquire such a fine piece?
It was crafted by the giants from the north. As you can see, it is dented up from the wars that I've been through. It was crafted by a giant blacksmith 300 years ago. And then we turn around and go right back to town.
Oh, you turn around and you start that way. But I'm going to need you both to roll perception.
Perception, 3.
Oh, man, I got 6. 6 was mine. I'm just waiting for Yzma to, pop up behind Lennox and say, peekaboo.
He'd be in big
Eat your
trouble.
food.
He'd have a 1d12 rolling after his ass.
So this is what you hear. You hear something going on behind the house, but you don't think it is dangerous because of your perception roll. That's what I'll say.
Lenny, should we investigate the noise or should we continue on?
Must have been Kyle and Dave. Come, let us move forward.
Lenny, are you sure Kyle and Dave are both male? Maybe that's the racket. They're back there making whoopee.
I have not pulled up the skirt to look.
Well, damn the chickens. Let's get back to our task at hand.
Let us proceed.
I just realized that Lennox's goal from the beginning is to get eggs, and he has 2 roosters. And he thinks if he feeds them corn, they'll just have eggs. They're not having eggs, but he keeps giving them corn. So as you continue down path a little ways, you hear some bitter pattering and some flapping of wings as Kyle and Dave soar over the tops of your heads like chickens do. They don't really fly, but they have the moment of fluttering as they come over your head. Yeah, feathers are coming off of them.
By God, Lenny, did that corn give your creatures the gift of flight?
Kyle has never came this far from the cabin. What is going on? He reaches down and he tries to make an attempt to pick up Kyle. It's like, Kyle, what is going on? And then he sort of inspects him. So I want to take a look at the chicken and see if any damage has happened to Kyle.
And I'm kind of like, at this point, looking back over my shoulder, a little bit concerned for the way that they're acting because it seems strange.
What did Lennox? You said you just looked at Kyle.
Yeah, I haven't picked up. I know that something's wrong, and I'm just sort of like looking at his overall physical being and health to make sure that there's no damages or injuries or anything like that. To see if I can find anything out of the norm.
Yeah, he looks like he's missing a few feathers, like he's been grabbed at.
Something is not right, Jan. Kyle and Dave
Yes.
do not come this far from the cabin. Maybe what we heard earlier is something of importance.
Yes, and I'm kind of like peering back towards the cabin. Perhaps we should investigate.
Yeah, you both turn around, and as you look back towards the cabin, you see 2 glowing eyes that are like near the ground. You can't really. It's kind of, the path is very wooded, so even though the moon's out, you don't see a whole lot. Neither one of you have dark vision, I don't believe. So you look back down the path and you see 2 eyes looking back at you, like glowy, because light is reflecting off the moon and stuff. But they're near kind of the ground, and then they get higher and higher till they're of a height with you.
So at this point, I don my mace and shield. This is looking concerning, Lenny.
Ike, roll perception with disadvantage because you're taking a nap.
Yeah, so 17 and 15.
Yeah. So you are startled awake to the sound of howling.
But, oh, fuck. Oh, what
And you
was
can
that?
tell that the howling coming from the way that Lenny and Jan walked off in the forest.
I look at little Sebastian. I look at my weapons. I look
Sebastian
at my...
is freaked out. Little Sebastian took off, and you slid out the back and stood up. Like, he didn't run away, but he moved a good 10, 20 feet with the cart,
Okay.
and you fall out, and that's when you hear continuing howling coming from Lennox and Jan.
I jostle myself awake off the ground, and I go to calm little Sebastian down. Whoa, little boy. It's okay, it's okay. That was scary, I know, but let me go check that out. I grab my weapons, and I head in that direction.
Yeah, you hear that you are headed towards the direction you heard the howling. So let's go back to them.
Okay.
What you see is as those 2 eyes stood up, and the moon's hitting it, that it's this human figure stand up and tilt his head back and how, and it looks at you. You can see it's like starting to twist and mangle a bit, as if it's transforming.
I take a defensive posture,
A fight is upon us. Let us do battle together.
and I take a pose, kind of like a with my kite shield and my mace, kind of like Legionnaire style, with my mace over the top.
And Lenny sort of like spreads his legs, sort of crouches down into like a tennis player's position if he was about to receive a serve. And he's sort of like tossing his axe back and forth from his left to right hand.
So, we have been posturing when we could have actually attacked the creature.
It doesn't. If you don't look good, it doesn't count.
It would have been enough time at this point that Ike is at least coming up. I would to say that this creature is about 30 feet away from you.
A good
you
distance.
you left Lenny's house. You look back up, 25, 30 feet, and then it's y'all, and then 30 feet more is Ike coming up on the scene. Ike, I believe, does have dark vision. So
Yes.
Ike would be able to see you guys, and I'm gonna ask. So Ike, roll a Constitution for me one more time, and let's see if you can have sobered up.
Nat 20, baby.
So, hearing a wolf howl, being knocked out of your own cart by your scared pony, has completely sobered you up. Plus, this is your brew. You know how to handle it. You took it too far, but you know how to get it back. You are no longer disadvantaged.
Yeah, I want to
Would-
perceive
would
the
you-
situation and kind of sneak around.
Yeah, I'd say say you're sneaking up. You're up to as far away from the beast as Jan and Linux are, but
Okay.
in the woods. Roll for stealth.
25.
Very nice.
Not even Lenny and Jan know you're there. And roll me perception.
Is a
And,
nat 1.
You think there is a man squared off that does not have any ill intent towards anybody, standing 30 feet away from your friends that were just at the bar. So you don't feel you heard the howling, but you get to the scene and you just see there's a man standing 30 feet away, naked. You can't
I
really
don't
make
see
out
any-
any other stuff. There's a humanoid figure just missing some clothing, staring back at Lenny and Jan.
I'm gonna pull out my bow and stay hidden in confusion.
Y'all are all there now. The creature looks at you in your postured positions of defense. He drops down to a four-legged position and starts to kind of slowly stalk towards you. And as he gets closer, you start to notice he's covered in hair, and his mouth is elongated, and you're familiar with what wolves look like, and he's not quite look that way, but similar.
My friend Linux, I think I've read about this in my time with my brethren in the priesthood. This looks very similar to a creature we call a werewolf. It is a very dangerous creature.
Any creatures of danger need to be put to rest. He takes his axe in his hand, grips it tight, walks over to the creature, does a big giant golf swing from the top down under, and attacks him.
Why don't you roll to hit?
So 12 plus my proficiency,
Yeah, that hits.
and so it would be 1d12. 6 damage.
Why don't you and Jan now roll for initiative, since this creature does not know that Ike is there.
11.
We are going to ask what Ike does before we get all the
9.
way into battle.
Lenny got a 9.
Ike, having seen what Lenny just did, you now know that this is a beast, by the way.
Exactly, yeah.
You're seeing this.
So, yeah, it doesn't know I'm there. I'm going to do a sneak attack and fire with my bow.
Roll to hit.
An 8.
I take aim and you fire your bow, but there's still maybe some lingering alcoholic effects, and you just miss him. Whiz behind the beast and sticks a tree on the other side of the path. And roll for initiative, Ike.
18.
You're up first.
So yeah, does he know I'm there?
No, he does not know you're there.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'll do another sneak attack on him then.
Come on, big money.
12.
Hits. What's the damage?
7.
So 9 damage.
Yep.
Very nice.
So you take aim with your longbow, and as you're sighting down the longbow, getting ready to release, you see this creature is just about to attack Lenny, who stands in front of him with his axe, having swung. You release the bow, and it tags him right in the shoulder, knocking him kind of off balance. And
So Yawn is a little bit further back because Lenny walked up to the creature and attacked. Well, I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt on the creature. So I'm going to cast my hit. Oh, come on. What a whiff.
So you miss, but this guiding bolt, it whizzes by the chickens. It whizzes by Lenny at an angle kind of between Lenny and the creature off into the woods. But as it does this, Dave looks up at this bright light as if the sun is rising, and you hear, and an egg drops out of Dave,
What?
who maybe is not Dave.
Oh my goodness.
And as the light continues forward, Lenny, roll perception.
16.
Okay, you were able to maintain your concentration and focus in the moment at hand and not be distracted by Dave's cluck and produced egg, and you see the full face of the hideous monster of half man, half wolf, mutated in front of you. Gnarled teeth, but not quite right. Something's wrong with this beast. He's not all the way cooked yet, you know what I mean? As the light passes through all these people and Lenny sees this half-cooked beast in front of him, it is Lennox's turn to act.
Lennox turns to Yawn and says, "You are correct. These beasts are dangerous and suffering and need to be put down as quickly as possible." What is the beast doing at this moment in time?
Yeah, so he got shot in his shoulder with an arrow, so he kind of reeled to the side, and then a blinding light whizzed by his head. The light probably would have connected, but since he was shot from the side with the arrow, he stumbled just in nick of time to dodge your blinding light, and so he's kind of looking up at that blinding light as it passed by.
So I'm realizing that in this moment, this is a little bit more serious than I thought it was, and it puts me in a rage. So I'm going to cast Rage, and I start shaking. So I take a step back and spread my legs and come over the top as if I'm like big, giant, over the top vertical slash down on the spine of the creature.
Roll to hit, baby.
7.
You come down with this rainbow arc of a axe. He just kind of leans to the side as your axe passes right by him, and he responds with an attack, and he will use his claw attack, and he comes for you with a 20. It causes 6 damage.
Okay.
And you must roll a Constitution saving throw. Okay.
18. 7.
Very
So
good.
18.
And then we are back at the top with Ike.
Wait, what does the Constitution saving throw gain me?
Keeps you from suffering some ill-fated effects. Ike, you're up.
So I see all this happening. I'm gonna notch another arrow out, and I'm gonna aim for the heart to try to go for a finishing blow. No little sneak attack. 14.
Hits.
7 plus 6, 13 damage.
As he receives this arrow to the chest, he falls down on all fours again. He goes to howl, but all you hear is kind of more of a guttural sound. He's like, and he turns to run away, giving Lennox a opportunity attack if he would like to take it.
I would like to take it. As it's crawling away, I'm going to take my axe and do another vertical chop, but my goal is to chop off one of the legs, one of the 2 legs. Let's say the back right.
Okay.
Because it's escaping, and that's what I can reach. So I'm gonna chop off, maybe from the knee down.
Okay.
And I rolled 15.
To hit?
I rolled a 15 to hit.
It hits.
So damage 7.
As this creature turns to slowly move away from you as it's whimpering and hurt, blood is trailing behind him. You catch his right hindquarters and separate at the hip, the entire leg, femur, lower leg, the ankle, the leg, all that's still attached, and he falls over and is dead. We're no longer in initiative.
Lennox, my friend, you appear to be injured.
He's holding his side.
Would you require healing?
I would require.
I am learned in the ways of healing. I kneel next to him, and I rub my hands together like I'm concentrating, and I put my hand up next to the wound. I'm casting Cure Wounds, a 1d8 for healing. Actually, my heals is 1d8 plus 6. I rolled a 9, so it's a 12 total.
He's back up full. Like from the
So-
woods, you see Lennox chop this thing's leg off. Then you see the healing and the hands on and the light coming out of Jan's hands.
Yeah, I walk up, I kind of inspect the situation, and I turn to Lennox and I say, "Was your axe really worth it?"
It depends on what we find in town. But Lennox is sort of investigating his wound from his side, and he's shocked that it's completely gone. That was one of the nastiest bites I'd ever seen. I've never seen a wound heal so quickly. Jan, you and me might be undiscovered best friends. So, let us move forward and go back to town. But then in his peripherals, he notices an egg on the ground. So he walks over and he picks it up. I think Kyle laid this out of fear. I knew the corn would work. Come, let us share this egg. So he sort of cracks open like a little piece of the top and just kind of like a nice little sip. And then he hands it over to Jan. Come, Jan, let us share a nice little protein reward.
I grab the egg and I must make a statement. In the town I am from, there was a warrior known as Rocky that would partake of raw eggs daily before he went to train for battle. I think there might be something to that, and I take a sip of the egg.
I would like to know more of this Rocky at some point.
Rocky was a fighter who was always the underdog.
I have heard tales of this man. I heard he had the eye of the tiger.
He did indeed. He did indeed.
Sounds like a brave warrior.
Ike, partake of this egg with us, and I pass the egg to Ike.
I take the egg and I just look at Lenny, waiting for him to give me permission.
Come, Brewmaster. Enjoy.
Thank you. I shall give y'all my finest exquisities when we get back to Little Sebastian. And I take a big slurp, and I instantly spit it out.
Lenny, I can't help but notice that the chicken that laid this egg was named Kyle. That seems like a male name, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't put that much thought into the name of my chickens. I just like the name Kyle. So I give the chicken the name of Kyle.
That is a fantastic name, Lenny. Fantastic.
So are we assuming that everybody thinks Kyle ate that egg?
Yes.
Okay. Because you all three partook in it, I want to give you a temporary +1 HP each. Once it's gone, it won't come back, but it'll raise your HP by 1. This egg was born out of very magical infused moment.
Okay, gotcha.
Therefore, it was a special egg.
There was a lot of testosterone flowing through that chicken as it was laid.
I don't think it was magic at all. I think it was the corn.
I knew the corn would work. I don't know how much time they had to eat it since how I just dumped both bags on both chickens and they just fucking took off running.
I'm thinking it was probably the magical sun that they thought they saw.
I go to pick up Kyle and thank him for the wonderful benefits of the egg. And I start walking back to the town. And I call upon my friends. Come on, guys, let's go. Let's go get a little drunk after this little endeavor we had for an axe.
But should we not consider, my dear Ike, Mayor Winchester and his charge? Because after all, that was the reason we were pursuing Master Lennox's axe in the first place.
Oh my drunken stupor made me forget the most important things. Yes. Let's run back to town and try to track them.
Come, Elf. We will follow your lead.
What do Kyle and Dave do?
They're
Free
walking
range.
around in the trees, free ranging.
So Kyle and Dave are like the old country dogs in this day and age that they can always figure out how to get home no matter what. Lenny, Ike, I need to see what is up with this creature. I want to determine more about its origins. Go, do what you must. I will investigate and see what I can find and join you later. It was an honor to do battle with both of you.
Yes. Let us know what you find with the werewolf. We will proceed forward and catch up with you in the near future. Ike, lead the way, my friend.
Follow me.
So, Jan, as you approach the creature's body laid there with one leg missing about a foot away from the rest of the body, why don't you roll investigation?
12.
Just from standing above it and looking down with critical eyes, you can see that this creature is not quite beast, but he's also not quite man. He has beast feet and beast claws and a beast snout, but he has flesh on his back, and you can see the ridges on his spine. He doesn't have, there's no tail or anything. He's got human buttocks. His appendages, his arms, his legs in the shape of something bipedal.
Jan is curious. Could I roll insight for some more
You did in canon say that you have read about them.
So I'll only roll history then.
Let's do it.
I have a 10 on history.
And what you can tell, and from the knowledge that you have from your past, you can tell that this doesn't look quite like what you remember. It looks very similar. Definitely seems wolfish in nature.
So I'm kneeling down inspecting everything. I kind of stand up abruptly and I'm thinking to myself, this is quite unnatural. This is not like anything I've read before. It's a little bit outside of the norms, if you can call werewolfism a norm. And I kind of take a couple of steps back from the body.
Well, let's roll investigation again.
Okay. 15.
So with a 15, you start to see on the arms scratches. You can see all the wounds that he took. He's got an arrow sticking out of his shoulder. He's got an arrow in the chest. He's missing his leg. But you can tell that these scars, these claw marks, these scratches up on his arm, they're old. They've been there for a while.
So I kind of take the werewolf paw in my hand and his arm, and I'm examining. I see these scratch marks. Are these self-inflicted? Or is there perhaps a patriarch or matriarch to these creatures that caused these marks on him? I set his arm back down and I ponder on these thoughts.
I like it. Let's leave that scene right there. That's good, Kalen.